Welcome to Statewide Stampede Round 2. Get ready for the third game of the day. We've got Dragon City Roller Derby, Chico Rollers, against Team Regional Victoria. My name's Intensive Claire Unit.
And I'm Power Ranger.
And can we hear Power Ranger?
Can you hear me? How's everybody today? Are we all geared up for the game?
We're excited for some roller derby today. All right, we've got a few seconds to derby and we can see the players starting to get lined up and then we'll be away. Cool, and with that whistle we are away. We've got both jammers hitting the back of the pack and it looks like our Dragon City jammer, who is number 112, let me see here, there's Goose Lightning has made it out of the pack first, then followed around the track to make their first scoring pass. The TRV jammer, who is the Mad Splatter, is just still trying to get out, checking on the inside line, being held back there by KTKO, and the Chico's blockers being recycled back there. And we have Goose Lightning coming back up for another scoring pass, hitting the back of those TRV blockers. Bit of a stumble, but managed to break them up and make it through.
Hitting the ground, but straight back up again. Can you hear me now, Claire?
No. I can't hear my co-commentator, but we're trying our best. So hopefully you at home can hear Power Ranger. So let us know if you've got any issues with the sound and we'll investigate. All right, so another scoring pass there for Goose Lightning. We have TRV with one blocker in the penalty box, so that's making life a little bit easier for Goose Lightning, having fewer people to get past, making it look easy, just cutting across the apex there on the fourth turn, racing around for another 4 points. All right, Goose Lightning being recycled round, hit off the back, hit out the back at the outside of the pack, but has again made it through for another 4 points. It looks like Goose Lightning's just going to keep going, keep racking up points while Mad Splatter's held at the back there. KTKO is a fantastically experienced blocker, drawn Mad Splatter back, bringing them all up to the now reformed tripod. Mad Splatter's doing their best to get around on the outside. Goose Lightning coming back around again. Quick and easy on the inside line, just danced on through there, and that is the end of that jam.
24 points to the Chico Rollers and 0 for Team Regional Victoria after that first jam.
Lining up for jam number 2. I can't see quite exactly who the skaters are from where I'm sitting, but I think it might be Solid Rage for Dragon City.
I can see a C on their arm. Let's just wait to see their number. Number 5.
Oh, sorry, Calamity June. Beg your pardon, everyone. Number 5, Calamity June, has made it out of the pack, and who's that? Number 6, 8.
Bender
for TRV has also made it out of the pack. Right, both teams have now got blockers in the penalty box, so that's making it a little bit easier for the jammers who just need to get past a few blockers. Calamity June made it through on the outside line there, and coming back around for another set of scoring pass.
And Bender just having a little bit of a fix-up of their knee pad there. I know that happens to me sometimes when I'm on track.
It's a bit stressful. Bit of a technical issue. All right, Calamity June is racking up the points at the moment, but Bender has also made a couple of points. And he's coming through again. It looks like just coming out to the top of the pack. Some assistance there from Monk there doing some offense. And Calamity June, however, still has made it out again. All right, Monk's been knocked out on the outside line. Is being recycled back to the back of the pack.
And we've had a pass of the star in Team Regional Victoria.
Right, Monk just has to get through this. Monk is our new blocker and just needs to get through this Chico's tripod to start scoring some points.
Our new jammer to blocker, our new blocker turn jammer.
Calamity June is coming around the outside again. Quick hit on the outside there to try and score some sneaky points just before the end of the jam. It's a very successful jam there from Dragon City. Looks like 21 points, so they're up to 45. Team Regional Victoria is on 4 points.
And I want some quick hands up in the audience. Is there anybody out there that this is their first roller derby game they've ever watched? We've just started the next jam. Looks like everybody here in the Bendigo Showgrounds has been to a roller derby game before.
And so they should. Once you come to one.
So Nix Vicious is lead jammer for the Chico Rollers, coming up to the back of the pack again.
Breaking up TRV blockers, but they're doing their best to reform back together. Nix Vicious looks like has been assessed a penalty and is heading to the penalty box. So power jam now for TRV.
With Achilles Wheel as the jammer.
And they are being recycled to the back of the pack now, getting ready to re-engage. There's only a couple of Chicos to face it. Looks like there's a few in the penalty box. Achilles Wheel being recycled again by KTKO, who's really good at the back of the pack. Right, some offense there, try and get KTKO out of the way, which makes it a little bit easier for Achilles Wheel to make it through. So there's good offense there from TRV to get those Chico's blockers broken up and to get them off track and out of the way.
And that was a first scoring pass for Achilles Wheel. So
4 points for Achilles. But Nix Vicious is also back on track and also scoring points. A bit of effort there from TRV to try and break up those blockers. Bit of offense work. TRV blockers doing a little bit of one-on-one. A couple of them to try and slow down Nix Vicious. Chico's blockers sticking together well, and once again, Achilles Wheel is being recycled out the back. And that is the end of the jam.
So at the end of jam number 3, we're sitting on 53 for Chico Rollers and 8 for TRV.
Looks like a timeout has possibly been called. Official timeout. Discussions happening between the jammer ref and the scoreboard and scorekeepers, so it looks like there might be a question about the score being recorded correctly. So we'll see if that changes things in a minute.
straight out the front there, we've got Kilbo Baggins for the Chico Rollers as lead jammer.
It looks like Monk has taken a star pass for TRV and is looking to get themselves out of the pack there, but stuck at the back. Those blockers are holding together really well. Kilbo Baggins though, slicing on through and away, and Monk is also out of the pack now. Coming around, starts scoring some points. Kilbo Baggins, a bit of a jump on the inside line, but didn't quite make the apex jump, so having to come back through. A bit of stumble at the back of the pack there. Everyone's on the ground. And Monk's taking the outside line, not quite working, move to the end, opened up a little bit of space in doing so that Kilbo Baggins was able to take advantage of. TRV blockers reforming at the front, but Kilbo Baggins managed to get through. All right, lovely bit of offense there from Commander Chaos, just holding the blockers out of the way for Monk to get through. Unfortunately, it was assessed a penalty and will be going to the penalty box. Monk is still battling their way through.
Through now with a bit of help from one of their blockers. Some good offense there.
All right, and that was the jam called off. So, good jam there for Dragon City. 16 points has brought their score up to 69. Team Regional Victoria 4 points. They are now on 15. So yeah, it looks like there was some readjustment in the score after the last jam, while the jam ref and the scorekeepers were having a chat, giving a few extra points to TRV at the end of the previous jam. All right, 5 seconds call. Oh. And a little bit of confusion there. The 5-second call was made. Jam time was about to blow the whistle, but the refs called a quick timeout, and the skaters got a bit confused and started skating, but jam has not started. All right, looks like we're about to start again.
So is that Goose Lightning we've got again for Chico Rollers? Both jammers are being recycled back behind the pack.
Achilles wheel for TRV, but Goose Lightning has made it out first. Lead jammer and is racing away. Achilles wheel taking the outside line, just got to get past KTKO, which is a tough ask. Take a bit of a tumble. Sometimes the floor is not your friend in roller derby and takes you out, which is very irritating. So looks like Achilles took a little bit of a slip on the corner there on the turn, forced to recycle back. Razorback coming to do a bit of offense. Goose Lightning trying to get around. Razorback breaking up the TRV blockers. Goose Lightning slicing on through. Meanwhile, Achilles wheel is trapped at the back of the pack. KTKO, and who's that as well? We've got Post Slammer doing a really good job to hold, but Achilles wheel has made it out through.
And
coming back around.
And pop their star back on their helmet.
Yeah, you got to have that star on your helmet, otherwise you can't score any points. Oh, nice little move there from Goose Lightning, moving to the outside line, and a quick move change to the inside, really quick, and danced away through on the inside line to come through the pack. But Achilles wheel has also made it through, scored some points. It's coming back around. All right, Goose Lightning calling it off. At the end of that jam, 20 points for Dragon City. They're now on 89, 4 points for TRV. They're on 19. Skaters are lining up. But that is a timeout called for TRV. TRV's bench manager has called a timeout just after that 5-second call, so we've got a minute to relax until it's game on again. See you soon.
Looks like skaters are coming back to the track now.
All right, refs are getting themselves lined up. NSOs are checking. They've got everything ready. Skaters are ready. Looks like there's some discussions with the NSOs, so we're now in the official timeout till that gets sorted out. There was that rolling whistle, so the end of timeout.
And you can see all the skaters just drop themselves a bit lower.
Brace for impact. All right, Calamity June pushing through to the front of the pack, being held quite well by this strong tripod. A little bit of assistance there from Archie Bargy to move those blocks out of the way. Calamity June is now out of the pack. All right, so for TRB, we have the Mad Splatter jamming. Still trying to get through. And I think the floor has taken out the Mad Splatter as well on that first turn.
Yes, we're looking at the floor. It looks like it's all the same, you know, consistency, I could say. But I have heard today that this floor's a bit grippy in some parts and slippery in others.
Yeah, and that's the trouble sometimes if the floor is inconsistent. All right, looks like we're just going to have a little bit of a break, so we might put some music on, and we'll speak to you in a moment. All right, skaters are back on track. And I can't see who we've got on. I think we've got Nick Vicious for Dragon City.
That's who I think it is.
TRB, sorry, where we're sitting I can't see, so we'll let you know who the jammer is in just a moment. But we can see all the blockers, and they're doing a great job. All right, so TRB blockers just needing to reform at the front there. They're doing well. Come back together to get in the way of Nick's vicious push outside off the track on the inside line. And there's Honey B doing some great one-on-one stuff. Now we've got Cow Crusher also doing a little bit of one-on-one, but Nick's vicious has made it out. And our TRB jammer is Trouble. Made it out of the pack, no trouble at all. Nick's Vicious has re-engaged the tripod. There's
and here comes Trouble.
Tripod.
I just wanted to say that.
All right, Trouble's at the back of the pack there. trying to get past those blockers. Takes a bit of a move to the inside line. Bit of offense from Bendo, really helpful. Nick's Vicious is coming back. Nick's Vicious is pretty speedy, so he's coming back before those blockers are quite ready, but has called it off. So it looks like Nick's Vicious got a couple of points there, called it off.
Trouble also got a scoring pass there too.
Yeah, good stuff from Trouble. 4 points, that means TRV's on 23. But Dragon City have now made into three figures, 101 points. All right, Achilles wheel for TRV and Kilbo Baggins for Dragon City.
And Achilles wheel coming out.
First on the inside line. That whistle from the jammer ref to indicate lead jammer status. All the blockers are lining up here on first and second turn, which we know from experience is a slippery zone. So fortunately, we didn't see too many stumbles. All right, a bit of a strategic call off there from Achilles wheel. Hitting the back of the pack, trying to squeeze a few points in and calling it off before Kilbo Baggins could score, but it hasn't quite worked as Kilbo Baggins got 1 point to Achilles wheel. Looks like also got 1 point. Okay, never mind. 1 point each from that jam. So strategic early call off to try and limit the other team scoring. So for Dragon City, Chico Rolls, Goose Lightning is our jammer. And for TRV, I can't see who it is. But Goose Lightning has made it out lead and is coming back around. TRV looks like we're trying to Cow Crushers to remove those blockers out of the way for their jammer to help them get through. But Dragon City out the front.
I think it's
there.
trouble again for TRV.
Trouble again. Goose Lightning, though, is moving quite quickly, slicing through, coming around again fast as well, hitting the back of the pack straight away. All right, so Trouble has been assessed, I think, cut track penalty, so in a bit of trouble. Coming off the track is going to make life a bit easier for Goose Lightning now. The Chicos don't have to do any defence. They can just do offence and they can just attack and score points. So TRV is going to have to do their best defence in the face of quite a strong bit of offence. All right, so that was successful. Goose Lightning has made it through. He's coming back around again for some more. Let's see the offence move is there from Dragon City. Clearing the inside line for Goose Lightning to come back around through for another 4 points.
And that tends to happen on power jams.
Yeah, it's such an advantage, the old power jam. All right, Trouble's back on track and has made it through. Goose Lightning still also racking up points. So Trouble's going to want to make it through again to be able to start scoring points. But just the end of that jam might have got 1 point there just at the end for TRV. So 1 point for Trouble, but 20 points for Goose Lightning and Dragon City.
So back in old school derby, there was a minute in the penalty box. So
Such a long time.
Yes, and so one power jam could define a whole game. And I think that's partly why the rule was changed. 30 seconds is a lot less time.
Especially with the speed of the game, and sometimes jams get called off really quickly. You don't get that many 2-minute jams, like a whole minute in there. It's a big disadvantage.
Certainly is. Or an advantage, depending on which side you're sitting on.
All right, Calamity June is jamming for Dragon City and has made it through and coming back for some points. TRV jammer is 999, Commander Chaos. Still stuck at the back, trying to find their way through. A little bit of offensive assistance there, trying to break up the Chicos blockers. But TRV potentially getting slightly distracted by the offence there because Calamity June was able to come on through without much in the way. But TRV have come back and reformed around the front to hold on to Calamity June, who has now made it out. So offence is really important, but you don't want to get too distracted and forget you also have to do defence. All right, Calamity June making it through, a bit of a stumble. We've got Griff coming in to try and do a bit of a hit, but not quite enough to stop Calamity June from making it through for another scoring pass.
Having to stop out the front at the end of the engagement zone there. And another pass again. So Calamity June's just making easy work of this track.
Yeah, took a look at that inside line, thought that's the place for me. Worked really well. All right, now we're in the back of the pack though. TRV blockers have formed up together. Try and hold Calamity June, but she's bounced around to the outside. Or looked like possibly cutting, but didn't. And then that is the end of the jam. All right, another successful high-scoring jam for Dragon City. 18 points, they're now on 140. TRV are at 25.
So we've got Achilles wheel lighting up for TRV. And who have we got? We've got Nick's Vicious for Chico City. Chico Rollers. Dragon City, the Chico Rollers. I'm mixing up those two names.
Yeah, that's the old club name, team name thing. Can get a bit confusing. Right, Achilles wheels just making it down the outside line. Coming through for their initial pass. Nick's Vicious coming back to the back of the pack to try and score some points. And the blockers moving that pack quickly, which kind of opened up the inside line there quite successfully. Right, Achilles wheel coming to the back of the pack. Big hit there on, who was that? That was Hurl Scout. Now Achilles wheel's being held at the back of the pack by KTKO. KTKO is so good on one-on-one blocking. And so bringing Achilles wheel back up to within the pack. Now there's two blockers to deal with. Achilles wheel doing a little bit of a spin around to make it through and score a couple of points there just before the end of the jam.
And I think they might have gotten right through the pack and scored all 4 points.
Yeah, I think they did. So that's a good effort.
Good effort after being recycled out the back by KTKO, who seems to be doing that very well today. As always.
As always, yeah. All right, so we've got Kilbo Baggins taking the inside line for the Dragon City. Bit of a stumble there on our inconsistent floor. Looks like it's taking people out left and right, but back on track. Razorback's in there ready to do some offense and hold the pack in the meantime, which is allowing Kilbo Baggins to kind of stretch out those white blockers.
Looks like Trouble's still stuck at the back of the pack.
Let's see if TRV can do some offense to assist Trouble to get through. Yes, they can, but unfortunately the Chico's blockers managing to reform.
And Kilbo Baggins has just gone through the pack for their scoring pass there.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of refs go down as well today, so I really think the floor is like a third team member that's trying to beat both actual teams. All right, Kilbo Baggins made it through, and unfortunately there's going to be two TRV blockers in the penalty box, so this is going to make life a little bit easier here for Kilbo Baggins with not as many people to get past. Chico's blockers doing well to kind of get all the TRV people to the outside lines, and Kilbo can just slice through on the inside, didn't even have to slow down. Trouble's still trying to get through. Razorback doing a really good job at the back there holding and supporting the other blockers. Kilbo Baggins taking the outside line that time, not hardly slowing down. right, TRV blockers are walled up at the front. Some people have returned from the box, so it's kind of helping things out there for the blockers. And the end of the jam. All right, let's do a quick score update. I don't know if we've done one in a while. TRV's on 29 and Dragon City are on 168. And it looks like we have a team time out. So I think we'll just do a quick acknowledgement of country. Just today we pay our respects to leaders and elders past, present and future, for they hold the memories, the traditions, the culture and the hopes of all Dja Dja Wurrung peoples. We express our gratitude in the sharing of this land, our sorry for the personal, spiritual and cultural costs of that sharing, and our hope that we may walk forward together in harmony and in the spirit of healing. So we are playing today on Dja Dja Wurrung land.
And this is our second round on Dja Dja Wurrung land, with Dalesford also being in Dja Dja Wurrung.
I don't know where our next round is.
Oh, I'm struggling to remember. Yes, I think we've got the double header in Geelong.
Okay.
And many clubs will also be going to Ghana country for the TGSS.
Yeah, up in Adelaide, so that'll be nice. Beautiful area to visit. So if those of you here today will also be going to TGSS, be able to visit some beautiful country. All right, we're now in an official review. So let's also use this time to say thank you to some of our sponsors. Let's take it in turn. We'll do one each. All right. Bayside Blades.
Julia and Anna Inn.
Mrs. Baker's Stillhouse.
Awaken Coffee Bendigo.
The Foundry Hotel.
Boneless Barbershop.
Silver Tongue Bendigo.
Felicity Ceramics.
Pineapple Page.
Brick Lane Bazaar, Dalesford.
And Talk Derby to Me. So thank you to all those groups and people and businesses for supporting Dragon City this year. We've got a couple of them here today. I know that Talk Derby to Me is over by the entrance. There's a stall there. You can pick up some good stuff from them. And if you are in Bendigo for the weekend, now you've got a list of a couple of great places to visit and support those that support roller derby.
And I did see that a few of those sponsors have donated things to the raffle. So if you haven't got your raffle tickets, head over and check out, because I believe there's some things, at least from Bayside Blades and Silver Tongue Bendigo, and probably a couple of the other sponsors as well. Looks like we're back on track now, with Goose Lightning just straight through for their initial pass.
All right, Commander Cows for TRV's pushing really hard against those Chico's blockers, who are doing well. It's just a 2-all, but forcing the pack to bridge out, which means that Commander Cows has got one left to beat and out of the pack there. All right, so Dragon City blockers coming back to quickly reform. All right, so Goose Lightning took a quick inside line and call off before Commander Cows could get back around. Wasn't able to score any points in that pass. So that's the power of the lead jammer status. If you have the lead, if you're assigned lead jammer, if you get out of the pack first, you do have such a strategic advantage, additional power that can really make a big difference for the scoreline.
And Dragon City getting lead jammer again. Calamity June out the front. But Achilles' wheel is out again.
All right, so both jammers now eligible to start scoring points. Calamity June's just fighting there against Mug best they can. Achilles' wheel hitting the back of the pack there. Quick stop on that slippery corner. pushing into the tripod, taking the outside line, and just making it around the back there of Solid Rage to come around for 4 points. Calamity June, however, sees what's going on, says, I'm going to get 4 points of my own and I'm going to call it off before you can get any more, Achilles.
So a quick score update. We've got Dragon City on 184 and Team Regional Victoria on 33.
And about 3 minutes left in this half by the looks of it. So we're nearly at half time. All right, who have we got on track? That looks like Nick's Vicious for Dragon City. And I think Trouble for TRV. Yeah, so there's that no pack call from our ref, which means the blockers out the front have got to stop engaging the jammer, and they are responsible for reforming the pack. All right, Trouble's made it out, but Ben is in trouble. Now you're going to face KTKO at the front of the pack. Meanwhile, the other blockers are moving up. So that's really, really disheartening when you think you're out and then, surprise, some blocker comes out of nowhere, holds you back. All right, Trouble's been hit out the side and is recycling to the back of the pack. Nick's Vicious is coming around to start scoring some more points again on this third and fourth turn. Moving quickly to try and break up those TRV blockers. Keep them moving and try and generate some gaps in between to make it through, which was successful. Right, Trouble is still at the back there, really fighting hard. And looks like has been drawn a cut track penalty there by KTK, knocking out and then drawing back. So Trouble is in the penalty box, which is a power jam situation here for Nick's Vicious. Let's see what the strategy is here for Dragon City.
And TRV, you know, having a strategy for a negative power jam. It looks like Cow Crusher, the strategy is to not let that jammer past.
Yeah, so they're really doing well to hold on to Nick's Vicious. Really good bit of blocking there. The TRV blockers were coming back together, and that's the end of the jam. Now, fortunately for TRV, Trouble made it out of the penalty box just before the end of the jam, so they won't be starting with their jammer in the penalty box, so that was good timing there. All right, it's probably the last jam of this half, but you never know. Looks like we've got Kilbo Baggins again for Dragon City. And Commander Chaos, I think, for TRV from where I'm sitting.
Yep, that looks like it. Kilbo Baggins is out the front. They've got lead for this jam.
Right, Commander Chaos still at the back of the pack, trying to use Honeybee there. A bit of an assist on the way through. All right, Honeybee there holding on to Kilbo Baggins for a moment before she skates on past. Busting on through. All right, Trouble hitting the back of those blockers, those Dragon City blockers. All right, Honey knocking Kilbo Baggins out and forcing the recycle. Solid Rage holding Honey out of the way. So good bit of offense there. So Kilbo Baggins had fewer blockers to deal with.
And that was Dragon City getting a multiplayer penalty there. They were holding Commander Chaos back.
So there has been a star pass for TRV. Our new jammer is Isabella Lugosi with the star in hand. Needing to get through, but still dealing with some Chico's blockers. Ooh, hello. And looks like it's a bit of a good situation for TRV because the Chicos have got two blockers in the penalty box, so it's going to make life a little bit easier for TRV jammer without too many blockers to deal with. So hopefully for them it makes it a bit easier, but Isabella Lugosi taking the inside line, bit of a stumble there. The floor is just being mean to everyone, taking people out left and right.
We've got that to look forward to later.
Yes. Hopefully it will be nicer later. All right, that is the end of that jam, and I think we're going to be at half time, I think. Or there's another one. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, look, it's half time. So we've got our Taco Man Taco van over there on the other side of the venue. So if you are a bit hungry, it's lunchtime. Maybe it'll be a good time to go and get yourself a taco. We will be back at the end of the half time, I think. Just waiting for that whistle to officially say it's half time.
And there's that whistle.
All right, we'll see you in a bit. right, everyone, we're coming back after half time, getting ready for another exciting half of roller derby. If you haven't yet, get on down to the entrance area and buy yourself a raffle ticket and support the Chicos at Dragon City. All right, so let's see, second half, see if the Dragon City Roller Derby can maintain their lead, or see if TRV is going to be able to come back and close the gap a little bit. Be interesting to see.
I can see lots of people eating tacos, filling their faces with food. It's a good time of day for that.
Tacos are quite good, so make sure you get on over there and get something to eat. All right, skaters are coming back onto the track. Got our referees getting ready, our NSOs are ready to go.
Looks like we've got Goose Lightning, and I can't see the TRV jammer from here. I think we've got the worst spot in the place to see the numbers on
I think it might be
ours.
trouble again. Oh, big hit there from Honeybee, trying to hold that jammer back, but there's not much stopping Goose Lightning.
You're right, here comes trouble.
Getting past KTK on the inside line. Goose Lightning not far behind, moving quite quickly. Trouble's coming back to the back of the pack, coming through their own blockers to try and hit the Chicos blockers. Goose Lightning breaking up the TRV blockers quickly and making it through once again. Got trouble at the back of the pack, that tripod, and we've got Razorback waiting at the top to do a little bit of a assist if required. All right, that's the end of that jam. Just take a minute, we're just going to let you know who our officials are today. We've got Rick Amortis, Mish Demeanor, Florence the Machine, Elemental, Mayhem, General Pain, Pepper Vendetta, and Disaster Chief. Is ref as well. So thank you, referees.
Referees and officials are a very important part of roller derby. Looks like we've just had Achilles wheel be called for a cut track, so they're headed to the penalty box to think about what they've done.
Which means we have a power jam for Dragon City, and it's In a Pickle jamming, who I don't think we've seen jam yet today for Dragon City. From memory. Just happened to get through Griff by the looks of it, doing a great bit of one-on-one blocking there. In a Pickle managed to get through. Griff's being sent to the penalty box, so maybe one-on-one blocked for a little bit too long. All right, Achilles wheel is back on track and is pushing their way through, trying to get past Calamity June there. And the Chicos blockers are getting back into their formation, getting out from the chaos a little bit to try and get in a solid form. In a Pickle hitting the back of the TRV pack. No pack call from Rick Amortis, which means blockers need to reform the pack. Blockers are responsible for making sure there is a pack at all times.
And a reminder of what the pack is. It's the largest number of skaters, blockers, up, right and inbound. At least one skater from each team. In proximity. So just proximity is within 10 feet of each other.
Yeah. It's just like a bunch of people. Cluster of people. All right, Achilles wheel took the inside line there for 4 points, and there's been the end of the jam. So it looks like pretty even Stevens at that jam. Oh no, sorry, 2 extra points. So Dragon City got 10 points for 2:38. TRV 8 points, and they are now at 50 points total. I've got Commander Chaos for TRV lining up.
Looks like we've got Mix Vicious.
And Mix Vicious has made it out as lead jammer. Commander Chaos is pushing forward, just one block to get through, telling the blocks to drop back, so forcing that pack to be stretched backwards, make it a bit easy to get through. So both jammers now able to start scoring points. So blockers having a look at each other. Okay, where do we need to be? Where are we? How do we wall up? And that jam's been called off.
With 0 points apiece.
For that pass, it looks like 4 points from before for Dragon City for an earlier pass. So 242 to 50. I'm just going to take a moment to also let you know who our non-skating officials are. We have Hale Skate, Abby Normal, Turbo Kerbo, Muggles, Cyclo, Bianca, Kitty, Mad Pixie, and Dakota Blocker. Thank you for NSI. And it's an official timeout, so speaking of our officials, right, official timeout's been called off, refs are heading back into position, skaters are ready. 5-second call from our jam timer.
And looks like we've got Trouble and Kilbo Baggins as the jammers.
Big bit of O from Solid Rage. Try and break up those TRV blockers, but they're doing pretty well to stay together. But Kilbo Baggins danced around, taking the inside line there to get past, to get through. Trouble is still stuck at the back, doing their best to push through, but the Chicos blockers are really quite solidly holding there. Okay, this jam's a bit slower moving than the previous couple we've had, as the blocking pods are kind of locking down, really holding onto those jammers. Kilbo Baggins almost making it out there on the inside line, but being knocked out, having to recycle back, hitting the back of that tripod. Solid Rage coming to do some offense to break them up. Trouble's at the front of the pack, just trying to get past this very solid and tight blocking wall from the Chicos. They're not really getting broken up at all, but sees gap on the outside, tries to take it, but is cut off by the reformation of the Chicos.
And speaking of gaps on the outside, Kilbo Baggins snuck through a gap on the outside there.
Very sneaky.
And a gap on the inside on that pass, now calling it off. Goose Lightning through for lead, but with Achilles wheel following very close behind.
Oh, great quick move there from Achilles to juke at the back of the pack and be able to spin around the hips of the Chico rollers just as the whistle was being called. See if that worked out for him. Yeah,
It did.
4 points there.
And Dragon City only got 3 on that pass, so
Yeah, so Dragon City called it off, but TRV with the points differential advantage for that jam. Commander Chaos for TRV, and we've got Calamity June for Chicos. However, Calamity June is pretty quickly assessed a penalty. It is now in the penalty box, giving Commander Chaos the opportunity to be the only jammer on track to push through and try and get past a couple of blockers left. The pack's moved up a bit, so that means that Commander Chaos now has more blockers to deal with. Just having to deal with KTKO at the front until the pack stretches out enough that KO has to cede.
And that persistence paid off with
So Calamity June made it out of the penalty box and was coming around to make their initial pass. And Commander Chaos decided to call it off before June could get through. Right, I can see in the live stream chat a few people watching along from home. If you're watching this game from home, I want you to cheer really loudly right now. Oh, sounds great. Well done. I could hear you from Bendigo.
Yep. Great to hear those cheers.
So if any shout outs you want to give, put them in the chat, and if we see them, we might say them. All right, Achilles Wheel made it through for lead jammer. Nick's Vicious not too far behind. Achilles and the TRV bench crew are both giving some instructions to the TRV skaters. See a bit of a strategic move there. All right, so it looks like they were telling the TRV skaters to get up, get to the front. So the plan was for Achilles Wheel to hit the back of the pack, get past the Chicos blockers really quickly and call it off before Nick's Vicious could make it to the pack and get through the TRV blockers. So that was successful. So a 1 point differential from that last jam in favour of TRV.
Yes, that strategy's worked the last 2 jams Achilles Wheel's been on.
It's a good strategy.
Kilbo Baggins out this time for lead. But as you said before, the lead jammer position just gives you that advantage to have a whole heap of extra strategic tools in your tool belt.
Yeah, certainly if the opposing jammer is quite fast, you don't want to give them much opportunity to catch up with you. All right, Kilbo Baggins doing the classic move, the fall and call. And Honeybee jamming for TRV for I think the first time, or was it a star pass? No, it was not. So Honeybee jamming for the first time in that jam. And there's a message in the live stream chat here. It says, "Go Chicos and Razorback" from Razor Mum. It's cute. Hi, Razor Mum.
Goose Lightning out the front again. Lead jammer just seemed to blink and miss them coming around the track.
Got some speedy jammers here from the Chicos.
Jumping the apex past that pack and round
Chaos
again.
has made it through as well, but not quite as fast as Goose Lightning, who's already back re-engaging the pack and juking to the in and then to the out to make it through and call it off. Wheel lining up for TRV and Calamity June for the Chicos. Calamity June at the front of the pack, making it through on the outside but stumbling. Looks like the feet possibly went off track, but the person that hit them off also fell, so no penalty assessed there. Achilles wheel hitting the back, also taking that outside line, similar spot, Calamity June. And now pushing to the front of the pack there, just a couple of blockers to get through. Calamity June, same spot, taking the inside line, racing on through. The pack is reforming now in front of Achilles wheel, which is not where you want it to be if you're the jammer. Big hit there from, who was that, Psycho, I think? No, Crackerjack, sorry. Crackerjack to the in, forcing Achilles wheel to recycle. Alright, Chico's blockers are reforming pretty well, pretty solid, but Achilles wheel sees that inside line open and takes it. Calamity June hitting back and pack not long after, taking the out and then cutting through to the in across the apex. Both jammers having a look at their bench as they come through, looking for some instruction. Achilles wheel hitting back the pack and being stopped still, but Calamity June with a little bit of movement still in that blocking pod, able to push them forward, get their points and call it off.
Looks like Achilles wheel still did get the 1 point there at the back of that pack.
You just have to get past the hips of someone. You don't have to get past them and keep going. And if they come back around in front of you, you've still got their point. So it's, you know, it's not always, you can still score points even though you're still stuck in the middle of that pack situation. Sometimes you've got all of the points available, but you're just stuck there. Right, looks like we're having an official timeout.
And speaking of officials, that's what makes their job more difficult too. So they've got all these skaters dressed in the same colour on the track. They've got to keep track of which skaters the jammers' hips have gotten past, and it can be very chaotic out there.
They do a good job.
They do an amazing job.
There's more officials than skaters on track most of the time.
And a call out to people that, you know, want to get involved in roller derby. If you're not already, most people here are involved just by being here, or online are involved just by watching. But if you want to get involved in the actual games, but you know, being knocked around on track isn't your thing, then we always need officials skating.
Absolutely, it's a great way to get involved. Yeah, from the safety of your shoes without wheels on them. Right, that timeout's over. It looks like we're back on. We've got trouble for TRV lining up as a jammer, and Nick's Vicious for Dragon City coming out the front, doing really well to like move quickly and change direction and try and break up the blocking tripod for TRV. Want to stay together, but the jammer is pulling them apart by forcing that movement, change direction, changing speed. Alright, Trouble's been hit out on the inside, re-entered the pack.
We do have 2 Dragon City blockers in the bin, so that makes it a little bit easier for Trouble.
Don't have as many people to get through, but a little bit of offensive assistance from Bad Splatter. Trouble's made it through the pack, and Nick's Vicious is coming around for another scoring pass. Sorry, it looks like a power jam. So Nick's Vicious got a power jam. Bad Splatter's in the penalty box along with Monk. So this is a big change in the advantage here for the game. TRV are now down a jammer and 1 blocker, so big advantage to Dragon City, and they've called off the jam. So they're going to start the next jam as with the only jammer on track and with a blocker advantage. So this is really a good strategy. You want to start that jam with that advantage, you've a better chance to get lead jammer and score a heap of points before the TRV jammer can return to the track.
And then the blockers all starting up near that pivot line.
So a little bit of a run up there for a Goose Lightning from the jam line to the pure line. Picked up a bit of speed, ran back through it, has made it through for lead, cutting through the inside line. A little bit of offensive assistance from Braceback. And we now have trouble back on track, hitting the back of the wall. That defensive tripod from the Chicos. Really firm, forming up well. Alright, Goose Lightning moving quickly from the out to the in and making some space on the outside line to come through. Nice bit of a hit there from Bender, but Goose Lightning was not quite slowed down, but then hit off track and being recycled now by Griff. Coming all the way back to the rear, out of play at the rear call from our referee, which means you've got to stop, return to your pack. Goose Lightning bounced on through, but has just been assessed a penalty, which I didn't see what that was. Possibly a high ball, I'm not sure, and will be in the penalty box. So this is a good opportunity now for TRV to score some points. Chicos are unable to score.
Trouble still right in the middle of that pack there and just been knocked off on the outside. And being recycled to the back of the pack again.
So the Chicos are going to be doing their best to stop Trouble from scoring any points, even though they don't have their own jammer on. They don't want, that differential to go against their favour.
Jammer's back on track now, Goose Lightning. And
a couple of sneaky points before the whistle there.
Possibly.
So,
yeah, it does look like two. Yep.
In the chat here, shout out to Frank for their behind the scenes work. So Frank is our tournament head skating official. So shout out to Frank from the chat here. But while we're at it, Buster Hammy is our tournament head NSO, so shout out to Buster Hammy as well.
And those two have done a heap of work for today.
A lot of work behind the scenes there. It's not always obvious to those of us who are watching from the sideline.
Kilbo Baggins around the outside.
Amanda Cow's also around the outside at the same apex point. Beautiful cut through the inside line. When I'm saying cutting through, I don't mean the jammer is cut the track. I just meant cutting through the blockers on the inside line there.
Slicing like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah. And also on the outside, Honeybee trying to do a hit there but didn't quite make contact. It's a good effort.
Dragon City blockers here, just doing a great job of staying together and holding that tripod together.
House is being held really solidly at the back. These Chicos blockers are holding on well, but a little bit of offensive assist there coming through, trying to break up that blocking formation. And there has been a star pass for TRV with the Mad Splatter taking the star, but the whistle's calling it off, so no points. Or no, that's 1 point, but no additional points there for TRV. So quick score update, TRV is on 57. Dragon City Roller Derby have reached 318.
Looks like we've got a team timeout for TRV here.
So each team is allowed 3 team timeouts.
As I understand.
Yes. And they're allowed official review as well. If they are successful in their official review, they keep it. If they are unsuccessful, they lose that official review as well. So there is opportunities for just to have a little chat with the officials and say, we think you might have missed something, we think you might have made a mistake, we'd like you to review this call or review the lack of call. And then the officials can have a chat about if they agree or not.
These team timeouts, you know, they're used for a variety of reasons. As we said, rests. They could be just to, all right, change strategy a bit.
Have a chat about what's working, what's not, and what they need to do for the next little section of the game. We've got about 10 minutes left of the game, so it's a crucial bit of time if you're going to try some new strategy. Not got much time left to do it. Alright, our skaters are lining up back on track. 5-second call from our jam timer.
A familiar pairing of jammers now, Calamity June and Achilles Wheel.
Calamity June out the front quickly making it through. Achilles Wheel fighting really hard and really putting a lot of pressure on. Not able to make it through just yet. Right, the pack's pretty solid. Calamity June's come out as well, getting a little bit of assistance there from the Chico's blockers, making some space.
And Achilles Wheel, they're coming up to the back of the pack also.
Nice little spin on the outside, but unfortunately went off the track, needing to recycle back, taking the outside line, getting through the hips there, cutting back through the inside line, but now faced with Razorback and the Chico blockers who have reformed in front. Calamity June, meanwhile, has taken the chaos on and has found a line through the middle to come on through for 4 points.
And those Dragon City blockers not making it easy for the TRV jammers.
Big apex jump over Calamity June, but it looks like didn't quite stick the landing, so forced back around the back of the pack. To come through again, but Achilles Wheel has made it through now for 4 points.
Cow Crusher doing some amazing one-on-one blocking there against the jammer.
And that's the end of that jam. 4 points to TRV, bringing them up to 61, and 16 points to Dragon City, bringing them to 334.
Got Honeybee jamming again.
And we've got KTKO jamming for the Chicos for the first time today. Moving quickly, looking at the pack. What are they wanting to do? Cut through the inside line, coming out backwards, has a look back to see where Honeybee's up to. Honeybee's using Griff as a bit of a battering ram to try and break up the blockers. Taking the outside line, finding their way through really nicely, nice and quick. KTKO coming back as well. Offense there from Solid Rage to get who was that Mad Splatter out of the way. Honey's coming back for more points, but unfortunately the jam gets called off and Honey is not able to capitalise on that next pass.
Solid Rage getting a direction penalty there for that hit.
Just a shout out also, Dragon City Roller Derby, the Chico Rollers. Dragon City is hosting this round of Statewide Stampede today, so thank you very much for hosting, for having us here at your home venue and for putting on this round of the tournament. Big cheer there from Commander Chaos getting out as lead jammer, and Goose Lightning coming up behind. Alright, those blocking packs haven't looked where they need to be. Big hit there from Commander Chaos and Bender taking a big hit there as well to try and stop slow Goose Lightning down. Goose Lightning making it through, but Commander Chaos calling it off. So 3 points there for TRV. They are now on 68. 4 points for Dragon City. They are on 346.
TRV are made up of a number of different clubs from all around Victoria. So, Jura Roller Derby League, Albury Wodonga Roller Derby League, Wimmera Roller Derby League, I think.
So yeah, they do really well. They've got representatives from all around regional Victoria, so they have to work a little bit harder to meet up with each other and train compared with some of the metropolitan leagues and even Bendigo and Ballarat who are in the same city at least. So it's great to see TRV on track and putting a team together and representing really well. All right, what's going on track? We've got Kilbo Baggins coming through. Lead Jammer scoring 4 points on that pass.
And looks like we've had a pass of the star.
Mad Splatter has now got the star in hand. Being recycled back in the pack as the Chicos reform. Kilbo Baggins pushing the pack forwards, forcing them to break up at the top of the engagement zone. Coming on through for 4 points. KTK keeping an eye on that jammer. Coming back to the tripod, reforming. They've reformed really well and are holding Mad Splatter back of the pack. Kilbo Baggins coming through, taking the outside line nicely. Scoring 4 points.
And calling it off. So we've got this pair up again, Calamity June and Achilles Wheel.
Oh, a bit of jammer on jammer action. Achilles Wheel getting a bit of a shove there from Calamity June, trying to get Achilles out of the way. Seems to have been successful because June is now lead jammer.
After that very graceful twirl in the air.
It's very nice, so much. Taking the inside line on the apex, cutting through nicely. Achilles Wheel making it out now as Solid Rage gets a system penalty, making a little bit of space, opening up for Achilles Wheel to come through. Calamity June taking the inside line, the back of that pack being knocked to the ground there by Smiles. A little bit of stumble town, but as I've said before, the floor is not on anyone's team today. But Calamity June's made it out to call it off, and Achilles Wheel got stuck at the back there, but did manage to get some points.
Yes. So a score check, we've got 70 points for TRV and 370 points for Dragons.
Well, that's an easy difference. It's 300 points. Even I can add that one up.
I may have done mathematics at university level, but adding is still, calculators needed for that unless it's round numbers.
So not long left in this half. We've got Commander Chaos for TRV, and we've got, who is that? Goose Lightning for the Chicos, who's made it out for lead jammer. Commander
Moving
Chaos,
too fast to read their shirt.
Yeah. Commander Chaos almost making it out, taking a hit from KTKO. The front of the pack, as I said, it's demoralising. You think you're out, and then some blocker comes out of nowhere. Bam. Alright, so both jammers are now on scoring passes. See if they can get some points. Goose Lightning taking it right through the middle and then out to the outside for 4. Commander Chaos now hitting back off just a pretty solid 2-wall there.
Razorback and Solid Rage there.
Holding really well. But Goose Lightning is pretty fast and pretty quick through the pack, so slicing through to score those points. once again taking
And
the
again.
inside, jump to the taking the outside, then jump to the inside. Very agile, so it's good to see these agile skaters being able to change direction and move quickly.
And of course the jammer refs have to keep up with these jammers as well. The floor's not even on their side today.
Goose Lightning another 4 points, and we've got, looks like there's been a star pass, so Commander Chaos has given the star to Monk.
Monk is holding that star in there.
Monk needs to get through these blockers. Okay, Honey coming to do a little bit of offense. On the outside, Isabel Gosi as well. And there's that call-off whistle. Now we have currently an unofficial score, so it's not the end of the game until we hear that final whistle. So we'll just wait and see if there's anything left to come. But at the end, it looks like we've got TRV on 70 points and Dragon City on 394. So
that last 5 minutes snuck up on me.
Really good win there from Dragon City. Well done, Chico Rollers. Clap, clap, clap. Stick around. We've got the next game coming up at 3, which will be Ballarat Roller Derby League versus South Sea Roller Derby. So that is promising to be a really interesting game. South Sea had their bye in the first round, so we haven't seen them in this tournament yet, so it'll be good to see what they can do.
Yes, and that is game 3, even though it's the 4th game of the day. Our first game was not numbered with the modified contact skaters.
Yes,
that did very well because this was the coldest morning of the year so far in a lot of Victoria, but particularly in Bendigo.
Chilly morning, but it's warmed up now. So the sun's out, so in between games, go outside, get some sunshine, buy a taco, and get ready for the excitement of Ballarat versus South Sea. And I've been Intensive Clear Unit.
And I've been Power Ranger. And we'll see you later on the track because we're playing against each other.
Yeah.
The 5 p.m. game.
Watch out. Bye, everyone.
Bye.